but again, write something
Hey.
off the wall that you wouldn't think of
Well,
doing.
yeah, nothing beats a good Dutch oven.
Oh, man. You would have, see, that's the difference between men and women.
Yeah, but let's...
That's going to be the title. Nothing beats a good Dutch
Nothing beats
oven.
a good Dutch oven or something like that. Like it's the spontaneity of each other.
Well, and it's the things within your day,
Mhm.
right? If you're like wondering, well, man, we haven't done something in a while, or if you have kids and they're just like getting under your skin, I think that should really be a check of, well, when was the last time that we did something fun,
Or you let it drive a wedge in between your relationship, and that can happen with your kids. It can happen with anybody in your life that you truly care about. And what always happens is that at some point, the things that you used to really love about that person will eventually cause resentment. It's great.
Well, let's be clear. That's not how it originally came out. And so I did get upset because you made me feel like I just showered and I still smelled.
Well, you did smell.
But not how you would think, right?
No,
so again,
it wasn't. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Prime Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Skip Wyss, and as always, I have the beautifully, wonderfully radiant Dr. Julie Wyss here today.
Good morning.
You look beautiful.
Thanks.
I like you got the snake print on today.
Today.
Brought the snake print and of course the cheetah print shoes a little bit. You look really pretty today.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Doing good? Well, you know what, Dr. Julie? It's Valentine's week. Valentine's.
The one holiday we don't really celebrate.
Yeah, well, it's I think,
but it's not really a holiday.
It's not.
Like it's I mean, it's a Hallmark made thing, and if you only show your significant other, family, friends, love one time a year, something is definitely missing.
You know what? I think Valentine's is, it's a celebration of love, Saint Valentine or Saint Valentine. I think it's to break up the boredom of the winter season. I really do.
It should just be a Midwest holiday.
It's just I really do. I think that you have Christmas and then there's St. Patrick's Day, which is a legit celebration of St. Patrick. But St. Valentine's Day it's a made up Hallmark holiday, but it celebrates love, and you cannot deny it that when you hear Valentine's Day, you immediately think about the dating in your life when you were a kid, possibly when you were in high school, the thoughts of chocolate, red, pink, good desserts.
I wonder what it changes. Like, when does it change from the excitement as like, because like when we were in school, we made the Valentine box and we passed the Valentines.
Yep.
And I think that's what we're going to get into today,
of little sugar
just
hearts.
That excitement of, oh, somebody left me a note.
I think that's what it is it's caring.
Yeah.
It's caring to take time to talk to
Be
one
nice.
another. It breaks it up a little bit. Again, it was a way to capitalize on things. Valentine's is one of those days that everybody just they can overspend on.
Well, it's great for the chocolatiers.
Yep.
It's great for the flower shops.
It is.
It's great for the cards.
Yeah.
Like, what are we missing?
Well, it keeps a lot of these companies in the black instead of in the red. Because not a lot of people buy flowers around Christmas time. They buy jewelry. You know what I mean? Yeah. So a lot of these things change in the spring of the year and all this stuff. But today I want to talk to you we're talking about relationships this month. Last episode, we talked about the 5 love languages and communication and the importance thereof. But I think there's something that people miss in their relationships, and that's actually the fun and games. Yep, newlywed game, right? But the fun and games of relationships.
Hey, well, I always want to play Pictionary, and nobody wants to play with me.
Well, what? Really?
I like that game.
Well, it's hard to play Pictionary when our kids don't really draw.
That's what makes it fun.
I guess so. But that's games, right? Yeah. Fun and games. Yep. And what we find is, and let's just look at this from the outside looking in, as relationships start getting out of that honeymoon phase, whether it's dating and or marriage, you start 5, 10, 15 years, marriage can start feeling a little bit mundane. The spontaneity loses and leaves.
It becomes normal.
It becomes normal, right?
Yeah.
The chase and the hunt of physical touch goes downhill. Things can seem more like a task or a wifely or husbandly duty versus just understanding the playfulness of who we are.
Well, and I think just like the world in that we live in, it's kind of you wake up if you go to work, right? It's a punch clock. Otherwise, you're waking up on your kids, and then it's just like you go throughout the day, and it's wiping butts or doing laundry. It's paperwork or that punch clock, working whatever job it is. You come home or you're at home, you're making the meal, you're eating the meal, putting the kids to bed, putting yourself to bed, and then it's the alarm clock goes off the next morning, and that's where it just becomes very routine, and we like structure. I like structure, but it's also really important to have the spontaneity and to keep things lively.
Yeah, and I'm not talking, spontaneity like the spontaneous night of sex or something like that. Like it's the spontaneity of each other.
Well, and it's the things within your day, right? If you're like wondering, well, man, we haven't done something in a while, or if you have kids and they're just like getting under your skin, I think that should really be a check of, well, when was the last time that we did something fun? Or when was the last time that we got out of the house and we did something together as a family, or one-on-one of dating your spouse, but also dating your kids.
Yeah, dating your kids, having fun with them, taking time with them away from somebody else, away from the other child, away from your spouse, and just having one-on-one. So I think one of the best things in a relationship to keep fun there is humor. And I think humor is something that is super important in a relationship. And, a lot of women, when you ask them what they found most attractive in their husband or their mate, most women say, he makes me laugh. He makes me giggle. He makes me feel fun. Not because, let's be honest, the physical things eventually wear off. Since we've met, you never met me with abs. So I'm looking to maybe add that into our relationship at some point, some abs for you. But I don't think you chose me as your boyfriend or your husband based on my physical characteristics of rock hard abs.
Well, I think if you would think back to maybe how I'd like to think most relationships, I mean, it may start physical, but there's usually something else that triggered of what you liked about that person. And so it's that personality. And that's, I think, when you get to unplug, you get to be your true self. And it's usually that banter back and forth. I mean, I love a good dad joke, right? Or the one-liners, the silly things. But that is really important to have that laughter because, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're just super stressed and if you can't laugh about it or laugh about the position that you're in or like how the heck did we get here and have that together, that's where like the stress is what ruins relationships. It's what ruins marriages.
Yeah.
Challenges and put stressors on the parent to child relationship. So there needs to be that levity of whatever it is, putting makeup on each other. Like I've seen all these different like fun things to be able to do, but of just being able to go back and to laugh. Haven't you seen that it was The Rock and his daughter wanted to have a daddy-daughter day and she put makeup. It was supposed to be just lipstick, but then he had this whole made up face. And so it sounds ridiculous, but that's also that time. So that was for him and his daughter. But I think it's the same thing for, spouses. So maybe get out an art canvas and you could do that together as a family, but like draw each other or but again, write something off the wall that you wouldn't think of doing.
Well, yeah, nothing beats a good Dutch oven.
Oh, man. You would have, that's the difference between men and women.
Yeah, but let's...
That's going to be the title. Nothing beats a good Dutch oven.
Nothing beats a good Dutch oven. But it's the truth. It's hilarious. I mean, even if we were at a mastermind a year ago at this time, and everybody was sitting around that table. And you remember that Dutch oven conversation that happened with 10 of us? And it was started by somebody who I didn't expect to talk about a Dutch oven, and I was dying laughing. And it brought levity to the table. We were all married couples. Every one of us at that table were married, and we were all trying to figure out business with each other and businesses within ourselves and working with each other. Next episode is going to be really in depth on some pretty cool stuff there with us. But it's the levity there. And that's why I brought it up, because I just laugh, because what are the things that you can do? I get kids. I get time with your kids and being with your kids away from each other. But I want to talk about couples here, because kids do get in the way. Kids do overshadow everything. When was the last time we actually had a serious conversation and weren't interrupted? It's usually when they're in bed. Now that they're teenagers, it's changed. Yeah. It's changed now that they're teenagers. But before that, there were so many conversations that you and I literally would talk in the car and be like, when in the hell was the last time we actually had time where we weren't interrupted? 30 seconds in, somebody didn't need something, and it changed everything. And then I forgot that I may or may not have told you something. Most of the time I didn't tell you something. And it causes problems. But in a couple, bringing that humor back in. And I think one of the most ultimate things you can do with a couple to show full comfort and humor is being able to fart in front of one another. I think that is hilarious. When that happens, and our son does. Our daughter, we're still feeling her out on that one. But those are being comfortable with each other. And that's a huge sign of it. Can you come into a room in your old sweatpants that you dug down, the comfort pants? Everybody's got a pair of the comfort sweatpants. They usually got 5 holes in them, some sort of random grease stain that you couldn't get out. You know what they are, and I've got them too. And I
don't have any grease. I was just thinking, I have some old ones, but I don't have any grease stains.
No, but I do. I'm a guy, so we've got little things from chips and wings, stuff like that. But can you come out then and be in front of your spouse and not have makeup on and just truly be yourself? And does humor still interject? Do you still find things about one another cute, funny? Like the way they may put their clothes on might be humorous, or the way that they just do little tasks. Because there's times where you're doing certain things and I'm literally laughing, and you will be like, why are you laughing right now? Why is this so humorous? Because it's the little things you do that drive me happy and drive me wild in a way, that make me laugh.
But that's what's important, is that we need to actually take the time to slow down and close the mouth, observe, and see these things too.
Well, I would say
the opportunity to.
In a marriage, there are idiosyncrasies that will literally drive a wedge through a marriage. But those same idiosyncrasies can also bring a lot of humor into the marriage. Like, he didn't pick up his socks again. This is just funny. Like, you can't get mad anymore. You just laugh at it.
Well, that's right. Because and that's where you need to have that.
It's just who they are. Yeah. And you're not going to change it. At some point, either you accept it, move on and laugh at it, or you let it drive a wedge in between your relationship. And that can happen with your kids. It can happen with anybody in your life that you truly care about. And what always happens is that at some point, the things that you used to really love about that person will eventually cause resentment. And I think let's talk about that. How do you move beyond that? Because everybody's been in that situation with their spouse, with their kids, with a business coach, with somebody that they truly hold and love and care about. And there's little things that eventually lead to resentment. Like, you start getting upset with them about it.
Well, I think the big thing is that communication. So if you've noticed it, chances are the other person probably has had inklings of something, but it's also okay to see that and have a value for those feelings. The next best step then is to have that conversation with the other person, right? Is it unfixable?
Yep.
Or is it, oh, okay, well, I didn't realize I have been lazy, or now I'm going to up my game and I'm going to be a better person, or, well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I wasn't aware of those things. Because I think for both people, sometimes we get into the routine of like, oh, I thought I just messed up a couple times, and then we just continue to do it because the other person, maybe it didn't bother them. And they've been finally got to the last straw of, okay, now I can't handle it anymore. So I think bringing that back up to the forefront is really important, to have that conversation, as hard as it may be to have. But the other person probably knows that something is going on and waiting for that conversation to happen.
Yeah, they want to talk about it, or it's when you haven't talked for a while or haven't heard their voice. And I come back to some of the relationships we have that are long distance. Let's say it's coaching. And because we haven't listened to them talk in a while, or because we haven't had a phone call with them, your brain starts building up all these scenarios of resentment.
Yeah.
And it's like, why don't they want to talk to me? Or, man, they're doing this, and how come I'm not included? When really, you just haven't chosen to have a conversation with that person. And what happens, what's really alarming, is that it actually happens in houses all the time, where then all of a sudden we see husbands and wives start getting this split between one another. And it's because they haven't talked. It's because they haven't had chances. They haven't had a tickle fight. Okay. Or they really, like, they haven't done things. Or one of the toughest things from a man's perspective is when I go to do something to you, like whether it's tickle you and you immediately pull back like you're offended. Because men are children at heart. We're rarely, unless you're with a guy that's super, super serious all the time, which would probably suck. They aren't serious. We're serious.
Childish.
We're childish 97% of the time. And we're only 3% adult when it comes to things that really concern us, like health, finances, things like that we're trying to solve. But we're just trying to have fun. But the worst thing you can do from a woman's perspective is get offended fast, or pull away, or act like you were offended quick. Because what'll happen is the guy will never do it again.
Right.
He might do it a second time, and if it happens again, then he just stops. He just stops. And what happens then is you're losing that ability of that person in your life to be able to express or show you gratitude in the ways that they know how to. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, and it almost goes
not
back
a shot
to the
at you,
last
but
podcast of love languages. But yeah, and I think it's just in that moment of, if that is the reaction, because maybe that's how you've been programmed, and now it becomes routine of realizing that's what it is, and have that conversation of, well, why don't you do those things anymore? Well, I didn't think that you liked it. Oh, well, I actually do, but not while I'm maybe doing the dishes, or maybe not while the kids are around. So sometimes we still like those things. But for the other person is understanding, oh, it was just the wrong time, or maybe there was something else going on.
Well, I go back to a conversation me and you had last weekend, where you have a couple lotions you wear that are extremely, they're strong.
Then I can't smell them.
Yeah, the scents on them are strong. And even Brecken had an issue with it. But I didn't know how to talk to you about it. I'm like, God, she really likes this stuff, but it's too strong. But I knew in my mind, if I don't tell you, you're going to continue to wear it, number one, which is going to drive me crazy. But number two is it's going to slowly affect my feelings towards you when you have it on. And it's going to make me mad. It's going to make me upset. You're going to wonder why my attitude's changed the minute you walk around me. And I pretty much just came out and told you, like, this stuff is too strong for you to wear at night. Because that's what it was. During the day, it's great.
Well, let's be clear. That's not how it originally came out. And so I did get upset because you made me feel like I just showered and I still smelled.
Well, you did smell.
But not how you would think, right?
No,
so again,
it wasn't body odor.
It's the communication and how it's brought up.
But I knew I had to say something to you because it literally changed my psychological being that day.
Oh, heck yeah.
Like, I was like, why am I pissed? Like, why am I grumpy? And then I figured out every time I came around you, it was that, and you just had it on your elbow.
The opposite of pheromones.
It was opposite of pheromones. It couldn't have been like, okay, so the next time you don't want me to touch you, just wear it.
That's what I was just thinking. Just ladies, I'll get you that name.
Yeah, like, just wear it. I will be gone. Or I definitely won't be like Pepe Le Pew. You got that going. I'm going to be like Roadrunner. Beep, beep, gone.
I like Pepe Le Pew.
I do too. He's great. He doesn't take no for an answer. He just keeps going at it. But that was a communication thing too. And what did we do then? Like, we went and got different lotion. I was with you. You came up to me and were like, can you please smell this so I know I can wear it? Because you, number one, it meant a lot to me that you did that, because it showed me that you actually really did care, because you were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I need to lotion my elbows.
I need to put some lotion. Don't need these elbows to get ashy. Definitely not. But the other thing is, you wanted to make sure I was okay with it. And that really does mean a lot. It meant a lot to Brecken too. Because when you showed up last night on the couch with it,
he was cuddling.
He was happy. Yep. And you had that new lotion on that was just lighter scented. So it's communication, right? And it's not building the resentment, but also trying to figure out the humor in all of it. It is kind of funny because it's not like it smelled bad. It was just too strong. Mm-hmm. And that can be really hard on your senses. And to have that affect me that way, big thing. That's the reason why the number one attractive scent in the world is vanilla. It's vanilla. It's vanilla-based notes and tones in everything. Why? Because you need to smell like a cookie. But it's vanilla. And I brought that up to women. I know you're not a fan, but most men are. And I brought that up to a couple of our female patients in the office. And I've literally said to them, I said, you do know the most attractive scent to a male is vanilla, right? And every one of them had said, oh my God, that's why he buys things that smell like cookies for me. That's why when my husband buys me something, it's vanilla scented. Now for me, it is a little vanilla, but it's more of a citrus like note type thing. It can't be heavy. You wear a specific perfume from Louis Vuitton, which is beautiful, but we picked that out together. That is a little heavier. So, but it's, I know we've kind of segued on this, right? Down scents, but it brings back to this whole humor, time with each other, creating spontaneity, but having fun. Now, I think a number one thing you should do with your family too, with your wife, is if you can't find humor in certain situations, sometimes you just need to sit down and have a laugh. Like whether it's watching something hilarious on TV.
Finding a comedy movie or like the old cartoons. If you
love watching cartoons.
Playing
you love watching cartoons.
Because it's like when do you get the opportunity to just laugh?
Right.
You know, and it's the old cartoons, but like Popeye from like the 50s and the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, like in some of that humor, like it's surprising that they are able to still play that stuff.
I think it's hilarious.
But that's when you can just like, you're laughing at somebody else's misfortune, if it's the Tom and Jerry and Woody Woodpecker and those types of things. So start watching that together as a couple or, you know, as a family to be able to laugh, because at the end of the day, when you feel like the weight of the world is on you, we need to be able to just like disengage. And if it's for the 18 to 22 minutes that maybe that episode is, sometimes that's all that you need.
Or the hour comedy special.
Yeah.
You know, like that. And that's something too, is like when you find comedy you can share in common, that's what makes it really funny. You know, you will learn a lot about your spouse. You'll learn a lot about people.
What they're laughing at.
What they're laughing at, like what their subconscious actually finds hilarious. And because that's fun, you can find commonality in that. And then you can send each other funny jokes. You can send each other things that might be off color to some people, but very funny to you two. And that's all that matters.
That's what's needed.
It's what's needed. We need to be able to laugh at each other and laugh at each other's flaws. And as a society, we need to understand that too, because we've gotten so polarized and so easily offended that it has come over into your marriage. It has come over into your relationships. You are so afraid to just laugh at something or just speak your mind on something and have humor, be yourself. Being an authentic person in front of somebody is so light-aired.
Your time is so limited, and so to feel like you need to constantly be like 100% all the time to everybody, like that's why you're exhausted. You only have enough energy for one day. You can't bring what you had from yesterday into today. You can't be prepping for tomorrow on today. You only have so much energy, and so it's be you in that moment. And then it just makes everything just so much easier because you don't have to be pretending when you're meeting somebody. And so maybe you need to, if you've been faking this entire time, maybe you need to like have some real, truth and just say, hey, this is actually who I am. Like the other person, I can't be that anymore. And you get to make that decision when you wake up. If it's, you're going to start that today, you're going to, start tomorrow, but you have that ability to be able to get to do that.
Yes, you do. What do you call two birds that are in love?
Tweethearts.
Tweethearts.
Reminds me of those little bird with the water that you.
Yeah, the one that Brecken 3D prints those things. Yep. So this is an easy way to bring humor back into your marriage and into people around you, whether it's your coworkers. Just find commonality and humor with each other. find commonality in having fun with one another and just being able to laugh.
Put silly little love notes in like each other's lunch boxes, or like set a timer to send a text of like a silly meme like throughout the day of just somebody just needs to start it. And so if you're listening to this, you're the person that needs to start it in the relationship, and then it could just open a whole fun can of worms.
So staying fun with your spouse is the absolute key to all of this. Say, we would really like you guys to let us know what you do in your relationships to create fun in with your spouse or your significant other, or even with your friends. And post that below in the comments. We do read those. Any suggestions or questions you have, we'll try to answer them. And as always, we're going to enter you in a chance to win a gift card to Target again this month. Spread a little love that way. And, spread love to your community and the people around you by spreading this podcast, sharing, subscribing to us. Get this out to as many people as we can, because Dr. Julie and I are on a mission to get to as many people and over 1,000 subscribers if we can this year. So we're going to do it. We're going to hit it, Dr. Julie. We're going to get there, babe. It's so important. So everybody take care. Have a wonderful, amazing Valentine's week, and go out there, get it done. Bye, everyone.